Two foldable phones meet one big challenge, the water test. I have the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3, and we're going to find out what happens when foldable phone meets water. Now, with any other foldable, this sounds like a terrible idea, except that these two phones are actually water resistant. They are IPX8 rated, which means, according to Samsung specs, they can withstand up to 5 feet of water for up to 30 minutes. You probably noticed that tube behind me, so what we're going to do is fill it up with water and then drop the phones in and see what happens. While the phone is taking a bath, let me tell you a little bit about how the water resistance actually works. Obviously, this being a foldable phone, there's a couple more moving components than your regular phone, so all of the internal components have a water resistant coating. But even more interesting is that Samsung has intentionally punched a hole in the interior of the phone so water would flow in, then blocked that hole with rubber on the side of the phone and filled up the open spaces with a special liquid solution. Okay, we hit our 30 minutes. All right, let's go check and make sure everything's working. So I've dried the phone off, going to test out the touch screen, just make sure everything kind of works as you would expect. Responding fine to my touches. Let's test out the speaker right now and see what's happened and how it sounds. So I can actually see when I'm playing a song that there is actually still some water left in the speaker, it's coming out. So there's a lot more drying that can be done. And also even though I've wiped it off fully, I'm still getting a couple of droplets coming out. I can't tell if it's from the hinge or from another area. Let's try the front screen now. It looks like everything's performing as I would expect. Camera. Okay. And I can definitely see a little bit of moisture at the top here. Wipe the phone down. Let's test the touchscreen. We are looking good so far. Test the camera. Let's play a song now. Let's see what the speaker sounds like. And like before, there's a little bit of water still coming out. Still sounds fairly clear though. Let's check the cover screen. Looks like everything's functioning as expected. The other thing I've noticed when I'm folding and unfolding the phone is that there is still a little bit of water that's coming out on the sides of the hinge there. So I'm going to keep drying it off and then of course let it fully dry for 48 hours before completing a final assessment. But I'm pretty impressed and I'm actually really glad that they survived because I didn't want to drown a lot of money worth of phones. And she agrees too. Okay, it's been 48 hours since dunking both of the phones. I wanted to do one final check to make sure everything was still working now that they are fully dried out. So first up, I started by checking the touchscreen. Both of them were responding exactly as I would expect, no issues whatsoever. The fingerprint scanner also worked fine on both. The cameras didn't show any signs of fogging or any kind of water ingress, which was really good.
Mic recording on the Z Fold 3 before dunking in water. Mic recording on the Z Fold 3 after dunking in water.
And of course, I did check that the phones could both still take a charge via USB-C. They did successfully. So there you have it. Both of the phones met the water resistant claim, so I wouldn't worry if they do come into contact with water. They should be totally fine. Just make sure you dry them off well after the fact. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Hold up, you didn't think we were actually done, did you? It's time for the real world test. Let's go for a swim. Obviously the phones met the claim in freshwater, but I wanted to see what would happen in a real world pool. So chlorinated water, I'm going to dunk both of the phones and actually see if I can use them in the pool. Recording on first. Here goes nothing. Now we're going to dunk both phones in 10 feet of water for 15 minutes just to see what happens. "15 minutes, 10 feet. We still look fine." I've taken both the phones out of the pool. I have washed them off in fresh water just to make sure there's no chlorine residue, and just do one final check. Looks like the front screen looks fine. Let's open things up and see. All right, fingerprint reader doesn't seem to be taking any kind of reading at the moment. Let's open it up with a pin instead. Okay, so the touchscreen looks totally fine. The camera, there's the outside. Hi! There we go. Let's listen to some music. Oh, it sounds very soft. Very, very soft. And it's at maximum volume, and it sounds, I can hear water in the speakers. So that is really, really low. Not surprised, given we dunked it twice the rated depth. And let's do a microphone recording. Microphone sample after being dunked 10 feet underwater. Okay, so the microphone's definitely working because I can see the waveform, but the speaker is so dull that I have to really bring it right close to my ear, even at maximum volume. So it looks like it's gonna need a lot more time to dry out. Same thing with the Z Flip. Let's take a look, see if the fingerprint scanner works. Okay, the fingerprint scanner is definitely working on the Z Flip, so it might just need a little bit more rinsing off or drying on the Z Fold. Okay, touchscreen is totally fine. They look fine. Yeah, no fogging I can see, which looks good. And the phone itself looks brand new. Let's test the speaker, see what this one sounds like. All right, it's a little louder than the Z Fold 3. It sounds okay. It still sounds a bit watery, but definitely the volume has, it's not as loud as it would be straight out of the box, but it still sounds fairly loud. So there we have it. Well, as good as new with a couple things that are not as good as new. So there you have it, the results of our highly unscientific water test with the Z Fold 3 and Z Flip 3. I will report back over the next couple of days and weeks if anything changes about the functionality of the phone, say the speakers get a bit louder or the fingerprint reader on the Z Fold 3 starts to work. But in the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. It's like my ear, it's full of water. Refreshing.